Let's talk about something that separates the average person from the top 1%. It's not luck. It's not having rich parents. It's not even about working harder. It's about how they manage money. Most people think getting rich is about how much you make. But the truth is, it is about how much you keep and how you make that money work for you while you sleep. Here's a harsh truth. If you don't learn to manage $1,000, you'll never manage $10,000. If you can't handle $10,000, you'll lose $100,000. Money doesn't change who you are, it exposes your habits. That's why so many people get money, feel rich for a few months, and then go broke again. They never learned what the 1% understand, that wealth is built through management, not miracles. When most people get paid, the first thing they think is, what can I buy? When the 1% get paid, the first thing they think is, where can I put this so it grows? That's the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and building financial peace. Let's break it down simply. The average person spends first and saves what's left. The 1% save and invest first, then spend what's left. It sounds simple, but that single shift changes everything. Because what you do first shows what you value most. If you pay yourself last, you're saying your future doesn't matter as much as your comfort today. Now, here's the rule that changed everything for me. Every dollar must have a purpose. When money enters your life, it should already know where it's going. That's how the 1% think. They give every dollar a job, to work, to protect, to grow. Nothing sits idle. You can follow a simple structure like this. 50% for living expenses, rent, food, transport, essentials. 30% for investments, stocks, businesses, or assets that can grow. 15% for savings or an emergency fund. 5% for enjoyment, something small that keeps life balanced. You might look at that and think, but I can't invest 30% yet. That's fine. The point isn't the numbers, it's the mindset. You must start seeing money as a tool, not a trophy. Every bit you set aside for your future, no matter how small, puts you in the mindset of the 1%. Let's talk about lifestyle for a second, because this is where most people go wrong. The moment income increases, lifestyle increases with it. You get a raise, and suddenly you deserve nicer things, a better phone, new clothes, or even a car. But that's how people stay stuck. The 1% do the opposite. When they earn more, they invest more. They delay gratification. They don't rush into liabilities. They understand timing. Let me be clear, you don't buy a car just because you finally have money. That's one of the biggest traps keeping people broke. A car might look like success, but it's a liability that starts losing value the second you drive it off the lot. The insurance, the maintenance, the fuel, it all adds up. You buy a car when your money can pay for it twice without touching your savings. Otherwise, that car owns you, not the other way around. The 1% know this. Success without financial wisdom is temporary. It is not about how fast you make money. It is about how slowly you lose it. You don't need to impress anyone with your spending. You need to impress yourself with your discipline. And here's something most people never realize. The 1% think in decades, not days. They're not chasing a quick win. They're building systems that last. They are patient. When others panic during a downturn, they buy more assets. When others show off their new purchases, they quietly reinvest their profits. That's the quiet game that builds generational wealth. So how can you start managing money like the 1%, even if you're not rich yet? Start by thinking like them. Track your money. Every naira, every dollar, every cent, know exactly where it goes. Because what you don't track, you can't control. Next, automate your discipline. Set automatic transfers for savings and investments, so you're not tempted to spend first. That's how the 1% stay consistent. They remove emotion from the process. And most importantly, build an emergency fund. Because life will test your discipline. Your car will break down. Your rent might go up. Someone might need help. And when that happens, most people fall back into chaos because they have no safety net. The rich plan for that. They build buffers, 3 to 6 months of living expenses, tucked away quietly. That's what gives them peace. Another thing, the 1% understand the power of investing early. They let time do the heavy lifting. They know compound interest is like a quiet engine that grows money while you sleep. Whether it's stocks, real estate, or an online business, they don't wait to have millions before investing. They start with what they have. And here is something that might surprise you. The 1% don't always make the most money. Many just keep the most. They know how to protect what they earn. They have fewer emotional purchases, less debt, and more discipline. They live simply, not because they can't afford luxury, but because they know peace is worth more than showing off. So, if you want to manage your money like the 1%, you need to start seeing wealth differently. Stop thinking it's about how expensive your car is or how big your house looks. True wealth is when you can wake up and decide what to do with your time, because your bills are covered, your money is working, and your mind is calm. Wealth isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the peace of knowing you're in control. It's the freedom of not worrying when the next paycheck comes in. It's the security of knowing your money is protected. And I want you to remember this: discipline builds wealth faster than desire. Everybody wants to be rich, but only a few are patient enough to manage money correctly. The 1% don't chase everything. They choose wisely, move slowly, and think long-term. So, from today, stop trying to look rich. Build the habits that make you rich. Track your spending. Automate your saving. Invest before you spend. Don't buy liabilities too early. Live below your means, and protect your peace. Because in the end, managing money like the 1% isn't about how much you make. It is about how much you keep, how wisely you use it, and how peacefully you live with it. If this message made you think differently about money, drop a comment saying wealth starts with discipline. And make sure you subscribe, because in the next video, I'll show you how the 1% turns small money into passive income, step by step, even when the economy is unstable.